A little bit earlier than planned, but I wanted to be here with you today. The light is going, kids are kidsing, and I knew that I had a window here, so I would rather give you the information a little bit earlier, and then of course you can catch up later if you were planning to do that this evening. It will all be ready there, and you don't have to wait. So tonight, I want to give you a mini workshop, a peek behind the scenes of some big questions that I've been asking myself, and to really support you and guide you through this next stage of your business. Maybe you are beginning to plan for the second half of the year. Maybe you're beginning to plan for summer holidays and you'd like to think about how you want to do things. And the beauty of the work that I always teach and I help people with is that you can build really strong foundations, but these set foundations are flexible. You can make them work for you, you can change them, you can alter them, adjust them, and you can do that whenever you choose and also whenever you need to. Many of us are really busy at various points of the year. We've also, especially with all my clients, there's variables going on in the background. So when we are planning, it's not just a numbers game, or it's not just looks good on paper, or this is what everybody else is doing. There are many different components to this process. So when did this conversation, or rather this round of conversation, happen for me recently? Now, I've been creating my own income pie for over 25 years now, but the last conversation I really had with myself was a year ago. So last August, 10 months ago. And my daughter had just turned 4. She was about to go to school in the September. And I thought, right, they're both at school now. Okay, this is what childcare looks like. They both had been to nursery a little bit, but I've always had one of them at home essentially. So I knew that I was going to have this block of 30 hours there and thereabouts every single week. And what happened in September was it threw up a lot of questions. I thought it would just be very straightforward, very to the point, like, oh, they're in school now, so off we go. But actually what that capacity threw up was a lot of questions, thoughts, feelings. Where am I going? Who am I? What does this next chapter look and feel like? And at the time, that was quite painful. That was illuminating. It was frustrating at times. I felt like I was making progress, but I was going at a really sort of snail pace because there felt like there were all these obstacles, these things that I had to pull out of the way of my path. And some of those things I hadn't realized had been brewing for a long time. So in the moment, it was difficult. But once I moved through that, actually, there was a relief on the other side. There was a moment of really recognizing what I'm here to do and what the point to all this is. And I often think about that if you are willing to go there and ask big questions, often you will be rewarded with big answers. And I got the answers that I was looking for. So when I'm talking about your business model, whether that's the next 6 months, 3 months, over the summer, however you're looking at it, I want you to ask yourself, what do you want? And almost write yourself that wish list and get really specific on what it is. I remember when you were a kid, you know, if your parents or a family member ever asked you for an idea, you wouldn't just risk it and say, oh, just get me, this is 90s fashion, obviously, isn't it? Just get me like a sports jacket. It's like, no, this is the thing, Adidas 3-stripe, the ones with the pockets, not the bulky ones, the very sort of slimline Noel Gallagher ones, like that. You have to go into that kind of level of detail. Also, there often would be a second choice if you were doing a wish list of, if you can't get that one, get this one, and if you can't get that one, don't get any, and I'll go and choose it myself. I want you to be really specific about what this season is for you, what you want, what's on your wish list, what's going on for you. Once you know that, you will be able to figure out a plan, make some steps, and begin to move forward. Number 2, when I was looking at my business model and really questioning where I go next. Now, just to give you a bit of background, I've always had a portfolio career, so acting, writing, speaking, content creating, coaching, what else? Collaborations, all sorts of things. And when I was looking at my coaching, I was really considering how I like to learn. Because what I was finding was there was so much noise on the internet. You know how we see these kind of blanket clickbaity sort of videos where it's like, if you want to do X, Y, and Z, this is the only way. People really saying, this is the trend you don't want to miss. This is where everybody is spending their money. This really worked for me, so it's going to work for you. And I had to come back to myself in that moment and ask myself, how do I like to learn? Because me understanding how I like to learn meant that I had some answers in terms of how I like to deliver. I figured out they were pretty much two sides of the same coin, because in order for something to be teachable to me, it had to be delivered in that certain way. So I looked at that. How do I like to learn? Often I like to learn one-to-one and have that very bespoke experience. Or I like to work in my own time, and whether that's an online course, and do it as and when I have availability. So actually when people say, you've got to be available for 16 weeks, Monday, 8 o'clock, I don't find it a bore or a chore, but it's not something that excites me. So looking at how I like to learn really made me make some tweaks in terms of my business model. Because ultimately, and we'll get to this much later down the line, ultimately, when I create success, when I do planning, when I work with clients one-on-one, it's always about what feels good. And sometimes you don't get the feeling when it looks good on paper, almost like if you were going on a date. Sometimes you might go on a date with somebody and be like, well, they're really good looking, or they seem really kind, or they seem secure in who they are. They don't seem to have a lot of baggage, or whatever it might be, whatever floats your boat. But actually, when you get there, the feeling isn't there, the chemistry. And I am always doing that chemistry test with my clients. Like, yes, it looks good on paper. Yes, you could technically make that work, but how are you feeling about it? And when they really tune into that feeling, they're able to make the tweaks and really able to make the adjustments to make the business model bespoke to them. And that's really key. Number 3. I looked at how I like to buy and what am I buying, what really lands with me. And again, the internet is only getting busier. Somebody has something, and I thought this the other day, there were about 9 different self-development things I wanted to buy, or were in my head of like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, I'd love to work with that person one day. I like the way that woman photographs. Oh, maybe I could, like, my head went to all these places. And so looking at how I like to buy really gave me an indication, again, flipping it over. What do I like to sell? How do I like to sell it? What does that ideal exchange look and feel like to me? So when you're thinking about this next chapter, I think we have to think about these things seasonally. So how people are shopping in the summer and consuming whatever it is that you have may be different to how people are consuming or buying in November. Looking out the window right now, the weather doesn't seem that much different, but it's a really good measure of looking at your own buying habits and then creating things that would be in alignment with that. Number 4, I got into the specifics. Now, I realized how far I had come in this process, because when I first started out, I was definitely in that camp of wanting to help everybody. And I still have a big mission. I want to help lots of people. I want to share the love, share the knowledge, share the impact, create the ripple effect, all of that. However, no, not everybody's ever going to like me. Not everybody's ever going to buy from me. And not everybody's going to do the work. And not everybody, why am I assuming that I can help everybody? It's just not the case. So after I'd done a lot of that process, I came back to the bare bones of what I'm trying to do. And I got so clear on the specifics, and I didn't allow myself to get stuck in or just kind of brush over like, yeah, I'm here to like help women or ambitious people. That's so tempting to say, because again, we go back to that inner child version of ourselves of trying to be nice to everybody, trying to help everybody. And that is going to be a very long and complicated strategy. So when we're thinking about your business model for this next chapter, it's really worth your while to get into the specifics of it. Mainly because people buy with specifics in mind. For example, if you go to the supermarket and you are a vegetarian, you want to know whether the sausages that you are buying, for example, contain meat or not. You want that to be clear. You don't want the meat company to just say, well, we're just trying to like serve everybody and we just want everybody to love our product. There will be vegetarians who are like, please do not give me that. I do not want it. Or if it was a more serious thing of, not a more serious thing, but a more dangerous thing of a peanut allergy, for example, you have to label these things. So I want you to get really crystal clear on the what, the who, the why. Who is this person or people that you are serving? What are the components that are really going to delight and please them? Number 5, when I was planning this next chapter, I went back to me and my values and how I want to be in the world. Again, all of the advice, all of the inspiration out there is fantastic. I love seeing examples of ways to do things. I always think back to the little girl that I was. I always felt like I was peeking over the fence because I lived in a village and you needed a car to go everywhere. And I felt like life often was happening over there and I wanted to be part of it and I couldn't get quite close to it. And so the values that you behold that are so intrinsically part of you are really, really key here. It's easy to just be all chat or to be a big personality online. But what we're looking for is you being completely embedded in what you do. And also, once you are, that will be easier to sell with integrity as well. But a couple of the things that I kept coming back to was the transformation. I really was thinking over the years about the transformations I've been through and the transformations that I've facilitated in my coaching work. And when those moments happen, I've experienced it as a client and as a business owner as well. There's nothing quite like it. It's absolutely magical. And so when I was looking at my values and my ethics, I was really getting into if that is important to me, which it absolutely is, the transformation. What do I need to do? Who do I need to be? What kind of space do I need to curate? No, what kind of space do I need to create? And that was so useful, because what happened was once I was, again, reassessing my values, where I was going next, everything could check in with them of like, yeah, but is this going to work? Almost like if you were going on a long journey and you knew the amount of petrol you had in the car. You're going to make a journey according to the amount of petrol, rather than be like, I don't know, let's just drive to Scotland and hope for the best. You are going to make clever, succinct, logical plans in that way. Number 6, have I done number 6? I've done number 6. Number 7, I wanted to really think about, no, this is number 6. Sorry, I can't count, nor read my own writing, it seems. My schedule. I am not somebody who loves being busy. And that has surprised me because I am really ambitious. I want to get lots of things done. But the way that I create, the way that I deliver, the way that I support is when I'm in that grounded, spacious place. I am not somebody who wants to sit at my desk and do back to back meetings. Sometimes it's part of it, and sometimes I'm on a train and I'm into town and then I'm back and then I'm picking up from school and then I'm doing all of those things. But that is not my preference. I actually love to be able to be way more flexible with my schedule than I ever thought. Hence why doing a workshop at this time. It feels really good. My kids are just relaxing. Then I can have the evening and I can do my follow-ups and do all of the things that I want to do. So I want you to think in terms of this next iteration of your business model, what do you want your schedule to look like? And remember, there might be some external factors here in terms of things that you have to be available for, but there may be quite a bit of white space as well. So what do you want to do in that time? What are the pieces of the puzzle that are going to make your goals work? What do you want your schedule to look like? And I would highly recommend, even if you like that flexibility and having a sense of what do I feel like today, I would always make a rough plan. Even if the plan is changed and tweaked or completely scrapped and something else happens. But giving yourself that sense of recognizing what needs to happen will give you a lot more purpose rather than being like, I don't know, let's just see. And we've all been in friendship groups with people who are like, I'm not bothered, you decide. And they think that they're being really easygoing and lovely. But actually, sometimes we need a bit of a suggestion. It's the same in the way that we run our schedule, we run our working week. It's really useful to start with something. Broader, wider, deeper. That was something that came up again and again, which I know sounds like a 90s soft rock album, but here we go. I don't want to do surface work. I don't want to do... I basically want to be in a long-term relationship with my work. I want to build on solid foundations. I want to really elevate it and take it to that next level. So when I was thinking about broader, wider, deeper, that gave me so many thoughts around pricing, the kinds of people that I wanted to work with. And that has been an interesting process because when you set the standard of how you work and how you set your stall up essentially gives an indication to people out there whether or not you're a fit. So for example, if you were beginning to start running and you've never run with anybody before and you were looking for a running coach, you might choose somebody who is all about your personality. It's all about getting to know you. It's all about being bespoke rather than running with an Olympian because you hope that it would make you go fast. This is really about alignment and matching. So you setting the standard for the energy of the way that things like to work and equally being able to attract those things. I've also found that in my acting career over the years. I've been acting for so many years. I trained at 18 and I've been a professional actor for, since then. There were no uni rules then. For sure, it was like, okay, let's go, you're a professional, aged 18. And over the years, I've met people who've asked me for advice or for an introduction and things like that. And some people I've always given very, very freely. And sometimes I just think, no, this is not the right fit because you're not ready or you're not in the place or you've got too much other stuff going on that this is not going to be at the level that you're ready for yet. And it's the same with your services. It's the same with your offerings. You have to be discerning about what is the right match for you, what feels really good. Number 8, I think. I think I might be giving you some more. Anyway, we'll see. USP, really focusing on what my unique flavor is. My pick and mix of all my skills, talents, experience, expertise, all of these things bundled together. And I know sometimes that's uncomfortable work to do because we're taught to be humble. We're taught to underplay ourselves and just be like, oh, well, you know, it's not anything major. Like, I just do it and I'm not really sure why. I'm not interested in that conversation any longer. And already I feel like I have to caveat that and say, I'm not being arrogant, but I also think, no, I've earned my stripes. I'm 42. I've been doing this for so long now and I get results. So I'm going to own that rather than being shy and playing it down, because actually the kinds of clients that do work with me, they need to know that I'm really good at my job. They don't want the wishy-washy version of me. That's not going to serve them well. So standing in you, your whole you, your 360, your transformation is so key. Then once you know your personality, you know the way you like to work, you know the parts that really help the transformation, then you can design from that base. So for example, I know that I'm really good one-on-one. I know that I can speak like this to the internet or a big room. And I love that flow. I love the Q&A. I'm fast on my feet, even though I can't say it. I'm fast on my feet. And but if I had to do the same thing day in, day out, that would not work for me. So I'm not going to design a business in that way. The next one. Simple systems. Now, here's what I'm going to say about simplicity. It is something that so many of my clients, and maybe you as well, are shying away from. Because somehow we have been conditioned that if things are simple, we're either skipping the process, we're not doing enough, we're taking a shortcut, we are not doing the best that we can do. Because we were conditioned, especially as women, to do the opposite, to make long, complicated processes, to over-deliver and undercharge, to give more than is expected, to always be available, always reinventing the wheel. And I want to share this with you. Simplicity is not only great for you because it allows you to have a life as well, and if something is out of whack, you can fix it quickly, or somebody can fix it quickly, and that feels really good. So you're going to be living your life, and then when you come to work, you're going to be able to give the best there. But secondly, your clients and your customers, they are so tired, they're frustrated, they've got 1,000,001 things to do. And so if you don't make it easy and simple and straightforward for them, A, they're going to go elsewhere. B, they might do something else. C, they're not going to give money. And D, they're probably just going to be a bit frustrated and a bit overwhelmed. And so even when you have that voice in the back of your head of, oh gosh, am I giving enough? Should I do this? Should I add more? Should I do this? All of this stuff. Sometimes the simplicity is exactly what you need. You know, on MasterChef, sometimes when they'll say it's a beautifully cooked piece of fish, like it's got a little salsa situation, might have a couple of green veg, and it's just beautiful. A little kind of sauce, jus thing. And it doesn't need anything more than that. If you suddenly went, do you want a slice of pizza on the side? How about some lasagna? What about some roast potatoes? What about a trifle? Like loading all these things up, it's going to be too much. And actually it's going to take away from the beauty of the dish. Number 9, I am giving myself permission to really pay attention to my data. And this has been such a dawning moment, and I'm so glad I'm sharing it with you today because I think it might really help. I don't know about you, but here's what I know about my customers. Over the years, I've worked with hundreds and thousands of people. So here are 3 patterns of people. Now, these are not people who just pick one and that's always how they are in their purchasing decisions. They have all kinds of variations and depending on what they're purchasing, I'm sure. I know I've been all 3 of these people too. The first one is, I just want the information. I'm busy. I need this information to work. I'm going to do it. but I'm going to do it on my terms, in my time, and just crack on with it. So this is like the digital version of the information. And I now have structured my shop so you can do this process for 3 of my signature courses, which are your digital disco, speak up, and create your income pie. So option 1, you can just purchase any of those courses as a standalone. I won't bother you. I might send you a message and say, you all right? If you've got any questions, let me know. But generally, you want to just get on with it. You want to do your own thing and not have to show up for group calls or work in a different time zone or phone this long number and hope that you can get in on the Zoom or any of those sorts of things. You just want the information. Great. I've got you. Introverts also. You might not want to share with the group or any group, so you can just crack on. The second option that's available for each of these signature courses is the add-on of a strategy session. And again, this has been really useful for me, especially when I've gone through a process, and often when I've gone through a stretchy process, being able to essentially, got my big notebook here, go to somebody, go to the course leader and go, okay, here are my findings. This is what happened. This is what my plan is. This is what I've discovered. What do you think about this? I've got this idea and I'm not sure. Having that strategy session is so powerful because not only sort of does it round off the process, it makes it real. And one of the things that worries me sometimes with digital courses is it's so easy just to absorb them and not implement them and not do anything with them. So I want to offer that because sometimes people just want to share, but they don't want to share in a group of strangers. The third one is, again, I've been this person. Somebody who might email me saying, hi Nicky, I've just purchased the course. Just to let you know, I'm not going to do it unless you do it with me. Meaning you can now purchase each of those courses and have a 30-day monthly moves offering with me. I love it when people know themselves so well because these might be people who are like, I keep buying these things or I've got all these books next to my bed and I don't read any of them. I just buy more and more and more and I don't get anywhere with them. The beauty of this offering is I'm there right by your side. And I've known in my own life, there's sometimes been these moments where I really want that supervision. I want that hand holding. I remember, I always tell the story, I remember years ago going and doing a sewing course and I wanted the result. I wanted to be able to sew beautifully. My granny was an amazing sewer and I just thought I'd love to be able to do that. The first session I got there and even threading the machine, I thought, oh my goodness, this is so complicated. Couldn't get my head around it at all. And the teacher happened to be sitting next to me and we worked through the whole thing. And then she got up and left me and started wandering around the room, which was perfectly acceptable, of course, because it was a group session. But yet I thought, no, I just want you to sit whilst I do each little bit to check that I'm doing it right. And it's the same with an online course or designing something. When we go into self-development or business development, there's often a growth level that brings stuff up. And often success or growth is spoken about like it's this beautiful linear line. From my experience, it's not like that all of the time. So having that support is a really beautiful thing. Also, I have been the client and I have invested in those ways so many times. Like I did a year-long program a couple of years ago and that was amazing because it really got me into the groove of, okay, Raby, you are doing this for 365 days. And just that consistency really changed things around. Finally, which shouldn't be the final one, but it is. How can I feel good? And again, this maybe has nothing to do with business growth, but it has everything to do with it. If you don't feel good, if you don't feel in alignment, if you don't feel excited about what you're sharing, what you're offering, what you're selling, it's going to be really difficult for people to buy in. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to be all singing, all dancing all the time. There are strategies that you can use, but the energy, the intention, the purpose has to be right. And if it isn't, people can feel it. And this is difficult sometimes because you might not be in a stage or have the capacity to be like, oh my gosh, I absolutely love this. This feels like my life's purpose, if it isn't. However, I want you to lean on all of these parts of the process that do feel like you, that do feel amazing, and work from that place. If you have been thinking, okay, yes, I want to relook at my business model. Maybe you want to add in some passive income. Maybe you want to get things in place right now. Maybe you want to look at your pricing, your packaging. Maybe you're giving too much stuff away for free or discounting, or you're just getting to the end of the week and going, I don't feel like I've made much money this week. This feels a bit, I just don't know. If that is you, come on over to my shop. First and foremost, Create Your Income Pie could be a really great start. As I mentioned, there are 3 options: the digital course plus the strategy session, and the digital course plus monthly moves. Equally, if you just want to do a straight strategy session, drop me a message, drop me an email. We can set these things up. I'm always happy to not only help you find your way, but I'm almost like your big older brother or your friend's big older brother who's played the video game and can show you where the magic coin is and just give it to you and support you and allow you to make those gallops every step of the way. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that has been useful all around redesigning your business model, looking at it in a different way, and finding that steadiness not only in what you are offering and the way people are receiving it, but really welcoming in that regular monthly income and really feeling like there is that reciprocity, that you are getting the money that you want, the money that you deserve for the work that you do. Too many people out there in the conversations that I'm having at the moment are just feeling a bit, yeah, it's all right. How's business? Yeah, it's okay. We want to move out of that energy, because if you are starting, essentially opening your shop in the morning going, yeah, it's okay, people might be like, I mean, it's okay. Like, well, is it all right if I come in? Can I come in? Is your stuff nice? What's happening? You have to, and sometimes you have to fake it until you make it, but you have to make that stand. You have to really champion the results and the transformation and the success of your products and your service. And then people will be able to feel that as well. Anyway, throughout that process, even though it was sticky at times, I have come out the other side, and it's a beautiful thing. It feels so good. So if you've got questions about anything that I've asked, that I've spoken about, please ask away. If you want to purchase Create Your Income Pie, it's available for you right now. If you want to work with me personally, of course, drop me a message. On every page of my website, you can just use the messenger button and get in touch that way. I hope you have a beautiful evening, whatever it is that you're doing. Thanks for watching. Please share this with somebody if you know somebody who would like it, and do follow along, subscribe, all that good stuff. Lots of love, and I'll see you soon. Bye.